Hello people, and welcome to Crypto Exposed. Okay guys, I've just got a topic that I want to discuss here. This is going to be a completely separate video from my usual content because I had a comment on one of my recent HBAR videos, and it's something I've been dealing with a lot when I decide to kind of cover other influencers' content, and it's just something that when I had this conversation, I don't know, I've been having it a lot when I do it on my channel, so I just wanted to kind of explain my whole purpose of my channel and why I do cover influencers' content and critique it, because I've noticed that when I do this, sometimes, you get people who try and look at me like the bad guy and being, negative because I'm critiquing other influencers and whatnot. And so I've got a few things I just want to get off my chest here, and just something I want to explain as to why I do this. So this is probably going to be more for my core audience, to be honest with you. I know a lot of people just kind of want to hear, what's this got to do with XRP and HBAR? We just want to hear that kind of content. If you want to listen. If you don't, then that's fine. I get it. I'm a small channel anyway, so I know this ain't really going to get a lot of views. It's all good. It's fine. But if there's anybody who just does want to hear this, then this one's for you. So, okay, I'm going to explain what led me to ultimately creating this channel and why I do the content that I do and why I critique influencers who, in my opinion, push hype content and things that are sometimes just completely false or inaccurate or unrealistic. So, I got into crypto around 2020, yeah? It was actually me and a group of friends, and the first things that we were being told was about XRP. So XRP was the very first crypto that I got into, and I was being fed all of the hype stuff, how it was going to go to $10,000, all the banks are going to use it, all that stuff, right? Now, when I first got into crypto, I didn't really know exactly what it was. I just know that I had an opportunity to get into Bitcoin at the early stages, and I didn't. So once I was hearing about, XRP being this next big thing, I just wanted to make sure that I was in, because I didn't want to miss XRP the same way I missed Bitcoin. And so we got into this group, basically, and this group was all fanatical about XRP, and again, they was all spreading the the $10,000 stuff, and I just took it all at face value because I had no reason to not believe this stuff. They were showing me videos and things like that, and it was just like, oh wow, this is incredible, that kind of thing, and I just took it at face value. And so we eventually got into a second group, and this was another group that was very fanatical about XRP. And this group was a bit more extreme. They would push a lot of theories all the time, and they would say oh, my friends in the banking industry, and they're telling us that they're running out of liquidity and they need XRP as soon as possible, and they'd make or say all these kinds of stories, right? And they got to a point where they would actually say things like, hey, XRP is going to go to $1,000 by next month on this date, and they would say a phrase that goes, I'm quit your job confident, right? And so what they mean by that is I'm not confident that this is going to happen, that you can quit your job based on this information. I'm certain this is going to happen. And look, I saw numerous of these predictions coming through, and them saying I'm quit your job confident. None of them came to pass. Literally, I'm talking several, and none of them came to pass. And all that would happen is once the date came and nothing happened, that they would, mock them for a bit. The person would just go quiet for a bit, or they'd say, oh, I don't know, I'm going to talk to my source again. And that would kind of be it. They'd just move on and go to another theory. And so there was a point where there was a date coming up, and there was a big expected XRP date for, the price to really go up. I didn't take too much mind about the second group, like I say, about the quit your job confidence stuff, just because, I didn't know these people, so I was a bit more, skeptical. But the other group that I was in were people who I know, and they knew a certain person. I'm not going to go into details about this person, but he was quite a well-off person, and he was talking about XRP doing really well. So I was a bit more listening to that guy. And there was the date that came up, and they said, XRP is going to blow up, and again, long story short, this date came to pass and nothing happened. So at this point, I'd seen so many people saying these different things about XRP. I decided, okay, I'm not following these dates or anything anymore. I thought, let me just go and do my own research, and then let me understand, how all this works and what XRP really is, so I can, really know what it is I'm invested in. And one of the YouTubers that kind of got me to question stuff like this, I'll be honest with you, was Moonlambo. And I started to do my own research. I just went extensively researching into XRP, really wanted to understand it, how it all works, and etc., etc. And once I really did get to grips with it over time, I started to really understand that, like, okay, a lot of this stuff that's being said is absolute nonsense, and there's a lot of conspiracy based stuff and a lot of stuff that's not really accurate, and it's it just contradicts itself in terms of what XRP can do. And so I got to a point where I was like, now I understand that all this, when people would say theories about what's going to happen and stuff like that, I could know straight away, like I could filter out the garbage, basically, right? Like when people would say certain things about dates and this is going to happen and this is going to happen, I'd already know, like, okay, yeah, I can tell that's not going to happen because of this, right? That kind of thing. And so I got to a point now where I'd got all this knowledge about XRP, and I no longer believed in the $10,000 stuff, right? Once I'd done my research. And I basically went to tell my friends this, right? Because I was, as I say, I started into crypto with my friends. So I went to my friends and said, hey, I'm not really buying this $10,000 stuff anymore. And, me and my friend, we got into this, like, it got a bit heated. And it wasn't on my behalf, it was more on the other person's behalf. Because, for me, I can have a debate. I've got no issue with that. But this guy, he was in it, like how you get with comments, like if you say certain things and they say, like, oh, you're an idiot and all that. It was that kind of thing. It was like, he wouldn't say that because he wasn't going to be that disrespectful, but he was like offended that I didn't believe that XRP was going to go to these high numbers anymore, because he really believed it. And so it got a bit heated because, we was at a very big, was at odds, basically. We had a very strong difference of opinion here. And, yeah, like, like I say, it got a bit awkward. And, eventually we had to kind of like be like, okay, let's just call this off for a second, because it was heading a certain way. And, don't get me wrong, like, me and him are still friends. We are cool, but it's kind of a bit weird in that regard now. Like, I'm not saying that, we're not okay. We are, but it's a little bit different. And if I'll be honest with you, I really don't talk too much crypto with him anymore, because, like I say, like, the way he reacted is like, we believe two different things now. So we've not really got too much we can say to each other, right? He believes what he believes, I believe what I believe. And so it's kind of like strained the relationship a little bit, right? With me and my friend over this. And like, for me, the thing is that, like, I didn't have an issue like that, because for me, it's like, we can agree to disagree. That's fine. It was more him, because he believes in the $10,000 stuff so much that he's like, how can you not believe this? How can you, and like, looking at me like I'm a traitor or something for not believing in all this stuff. And, like, I don't know, it almost felt like he felt like disappointed that he got me into crypto, because now I don't follow the same beliefs as him. And so it's put us in a bit of a strange place. And so when I like see, influencers pushing all this stuff, that's part of why I'm so passionate about this. Because, like, I've actually had a relationship, like a friendship, be like affected by all this. By a person who, I'm not going to name the name of who they follow, but I think they're pushing nonsense, in my opinion. I just think they're wrong, plain and simple. I don't think he's lying, this creator, but I just think he's someone who, he believes in like really unrealistic stuff, basically. I think he's just conspiracy theory based, and I just think he's got it wrong. That's my opinion. And so when I see these influencers pushing stuff like this now, and like pushing all this kind of content, like, I've seen firsthand what this does to people. I've seen how passionate they get, and obviously as a content creator as well, you get it, because when I debunk these kind of theories, I see the hate in the comments. Do you know what I mean? And again, it's like, they're not mature. They're children. They're childish, like, they can't just say, hey, let's have a conversation. I've had one or two people who have had actually, I won't just say to everyone, I have had one or two people where we've had an actual genuinely good conversation. And in the end, we just agreed to disagree. And that's what adults do. You know, that's all I ask for. Like, I'm not saying that you have to believe me when I debunk these things, but I show you evidence as to why this stuff isn't likely. If after that you still want to believe the $10,000 stuff, that's fine. My thing is just be an adult about it. Like, we can have a conversation, or we can just plain and simply agree to disagree. That's it. We haven't got to get into like the childish antics of calling each other names and, you know, trying to be disrespectful. Like, we can just agree to disagree. And that's what my issue is. And so the reason why, as I say, I get so passionate about this stuff is like I've had a friendship affected by this. Like, and I'm not talking about a short friendship. Like, this is a long-term friend, you know, like someone I've known for many years. And so when I see people, you know, pushing certain stuff that I think is inaccurate, or I just think they're lying, yeah, I do take it a bit personal, because I've been affected by this, by people believing this stuff. And, you know, my thing is this, like, I take being a content creator, like, very seriously. Like, I genuinely try my best that if I'm going to give you guys information, I try my best to make sure that it's as accurate as possible. Now, look, I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I could get things wrong. I'm not saying that whatever I say is 100% right all the time. I might get things wrong. But I've researched as much as I can, and I'm giving you the information to the best of my ability. And what I'm saying to you is there's some influencers out there who they don't care what they're saying. As long as it's getting them clicks and engagement, that's all they care about. And yeah, I do take issue with that, because it's the fact that they're basically making money off of people's, I don't want to call it desperation, but, you know, like, for want of a better word, desperation, because people want this stuff to be so true that they'll take this stuff in and they will blindly defend it, right? And so I have to deal with a lot of the heat just because I'm trying to help people. And so, you know, like, when I did a very recent video covering someone who was hyping up HBAR, you know, I had a comment where the guy was basically, you know, getting on my case for calling this out. And, you know, like, I don't know, it just got to a point where, I don't know, like, maybe it's because, like, my channel's being suppressed at the moment as well. So, like, I'm going through another downturn, which is, again, this is the second time it's happened, and I'm getting a bit burnt out by it all. But I don't know, like, it just hit me a little bit, and I was just like, is there any point to me doing this? I'll just be honest, like, because my channel's really you know, it's tiny. And don't get me wrong, for me, even if I was to quit tomorrow, I'd still consider this channel a success. Like, for me to have got to a point where I could actually get paid to do YouTube content, to me, that's a huge success. I didn't know where it was going to go. My very first video was only 7 views, so I didn't really know where the channel was going to go. And for me to get to this point, like, I've, you know, heard about some YouTubers who've been doing it for 5 years and not got monetized. So, like, I'm really proud of what I've accomplished, even though some people would say, you know, this is a failure because it's not like a 10,000 subscriber channel. That, like, to me, success is subjective. I deem this personally a success. I'm very proud of what I have accomplished and, you know, the impact that I have had. And I know I've helped some people, so that to me was the main goal. Because I don't do this for money. Like, I think you should know by now that if I was doing this for money, my content would be very different. But I don't like the idea that people are making money just off of the back of deceiving you. Because I do look at them as just like con artists, right? They're just scamming you. Like, some people are just literally scamming you. They're just pushing content that's just not realistic because they know it's going to get money. And yes, they're not scamming you in the way of like, buy my cryptocurrency or something like that. But they're scamming you in the sense of they're feeding you things that's just very inaccurate. And they're benefiting off of your time that you're spending watching this person. That's what I mean. And so, like, I like, for me personally, when I see like influencers who are like pushing, you know, blatantly, you know, hyped up content, I kind of get offended. I'll be honest with you, because to me it's like, it doesn't take a lot of research to know that this is just nonsense. So it's kind of like, I do feel like you're insulting my intelligence a little bit, to be honest with you. So that's another thing as well why I call it out, because it's like, this is so easily debunkable. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can so easily debunk this. And so, yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just venting here at this point, but I just wanted to make it clear because I think people look at me as like the bad guy because I confront these YouTubers who are making inaccurate content. But just to understand that, like, my heart's in the right place. Like, I'm actually doing it for you, the viewer, because this is the thing, right? When I, go at these content creators, like, I'll give you an example. Black Swan Capitalist, I had a huge thing with him. I invited him to a debate, offered him to have a debate. Like, he, like, saw my content and he didn't like it at all. Me and him had a bit of a exchange of words. And, like, I get nothing out of that, right? Because this is the thing. His audience are way bigger than mine. So they're going to come over and just swarm my channel, which is what happens. There was all, like, Black Swan Capitalist fans. They all was, saying I'm an idiot and blah, 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 and I'm just doing it for hype, where I wanted to do the debate so I could show you, hey, look, this is the stuff that they say. Let's have a debate and see who you believe. And if I'm so confident to go into that debate, like, I could have gone in and got humiliated if Black Swan Capitalist is as knowledgeable as he claims, right? Like, he's got his theories that he pushes. So people make out like I'm doing this for views, but it's like, what if I'd have lost the debate? What if he'd have blatantly embarrassed me? That could have happened. Now, I'm confident that wouldn't have happened. I think it would have been quite the opposite, but that could have happened. I don't know what was going to happen going into that debate, right? Like, I don't know what information he's going to come with. But I'm doing this so you, the viewer, can see what these influencers are like when they're actually challenged on what they believe. Because it's easy to create this content, right? It's easy to say, hey, yeah, this is why XRP is going to go this high and all the banks are watching it. But when you start to challenge these things and pick them apart, this is where it's like, can you answer this then? Why can't you answer this? Why doesn't this make sense? Can you answer how this would work? That's when it gets difficult for them. And that's what I'm trying to show you, the viewer, because I look at it as this, right? I'm one of you guys. When it's all said and done, I'm one of you guys. I'm just an average guy. I'm no one special, and I've always said this before. I'm like you guys. I'm an investor. I'm here to just show you guys, hey, like, be careful of this guy. Like, the content that they're making is not that realistic, and I'll tell you why. I'm not just going to be here just saying, oh, he just says garbage and that's it. No, I'll explain why. Now, it's up to you if you still want to, follow that person. And if you want to, that's fine. But I'm just showing you, I'm giving you the warning signs. Like, that's what I feel my duty is, because I've been in that position. I came in blind and being force-fed nonsense. And once I kind of opened my eyes and did my research, I could see the light, right? And that's what I'm trying to do for you. So I just want you guys to understand that, like, I'm not trying to do this to be, like, arrogant, and I'm not trying to do it to be egotistical and, like, just put people down. I'm doing it for you guys because you guys are investing money. And that's the thing for me. Like, there's money at stake here. There's people who are investing based off of this information. And I know how I felt once I realized all the nonsense that I was being fed, and I didn't like it. So for the people who are willing to listen, I'm trying to help you guys just to say, hey, this is not right. This isn't accurate. The last thing I'll just say, like, for me, that bugged me and what made me want to, like, create my own channel is, like, I would notice that influencers would never say anything negative about, a crypto. It could be XRP, it could be HBAR, it could be any crypto. But there was a lot of influencers who wouldn't ever say, hey, this isn't the best. It's not. Like, this is not great. And that was another thing that bugged me, because as an investor, I don't just always want to hear the positive things. I actually want to hear the negative things too, because if I only hear the positive things, I could miss out on something that could put me off, right? If there's a huge negative that I'm not aware of, because all I want to hear is the echo chamber of positive, stuff. What if there's a huge negative that I'm not willing to listen to, and then that could affect, what happens with that crypto, right? So, for example, if I just go with, like, Solana, if I heard, oh, Solana's price is really high, Solana's doing really well with meme coins, but then they didn't tell me, like, oh, Solana has a lot of outages, so it has struggles trying to scale. Do you see what I'm saying? So, yes, you can just hear the price, but then there's another part of it that will, change your whole perspective. And so, I'm just here to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly, no matter what. If something's negative, I will say it. If something's positive, I will say it. And that's how it's been. And that's why my channel hasn't really grown, to be honest with you, to like a significant level. Like, yes, I still consider this good for me, but like, I know if I was to do the content that other people do, where it's just always positive, never like negative, always, great stuff, and not saying, hey, I don't think XRP can get to this price, or hey, I think this is a bit too high for HBAR. I know if I was to just do positive content all the time, I could easily get my channel up to like 10,000 subscribers. Easy. Because I've seen the type of content that I do, and I've seen when I covered certain topics, how the views change. Right? And even in terms of like my channel being suppressed, like, because I have debates with people and I prove them wrong, it ends up with them trying to stifle my channel. And that's what happens. I end up getting shadow banned, And so here I am again in this position, and it's just like, I have to be honest with you, and I get to a point at time where I'm like, is this really worth it anymore? Because look, I'll say this, I do get paid for YouTube content, but I'll be real with you guys, it's nothing significant. People make out like, oh, we do this for money, and it's like, for me, I don't make real great money off of this. I make really like peanuts. I really do. I'm not making a lot of money at all. I've got a good career outside of YouTube though. I've got a very good career. I want to, and that's why I don't worry about YouTube. Like, I've never done it for money. Like, it's great to get paid because it at least gives me a little bonus for my time, but I never did it for money. But I'll be honest with you, when your channel's not making barely any money and you're not really reaching anybody because your channel keeps getting like suppressed, and then when you are trying to, go against these other YouTubers, you keep getting put down by other people and they think that you're attacking them, and you just get to a point like you have to question, like, is it all really worth it? Do you know what I mean? So I'm not saying I'm quitting. I'm not at that point. I don't know if I will. I'm just going to be honest with you. It's a possibility. We'll see how it goes. At the moment, I still do overall enjoy it for the most part. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I just wanted to explain this. I know I've gone on for a long time, but it's just to make you understand what this is about for me. Like, it is kind of personal. So when I am critiquing these influencers, it's only because I want you guys to know the truth. Because it's not going to do me any favors. It doesn't get me views. It makes their audiences not like me because I'm going against their favorite influencer. It ends up with people suppressing my channel because they do things to affect my channel. Like, this does nothing for me. You know what I mean? It does me no favors. So I'm really just trying to help the small minority who just want the truth. And that's it. But, when people look at it as like, I'm the negative one because I'm just trying to show people the truth, it kind of like, you know what I mean? It's like, I do all this hoping people will say that I'm the good guy trying to show you the truth. And you don't get these other people, these other influencers attacking each other because they're all doing the same thing. They're all pushing the hype. So why are they going to critique other people when they're all saying the same stuff? And that's what's making them money. They're on the gravy train. They've got the money coming in doing all the hype content. So of course they're not going to be here talking about other influencers because they're just like, yeah, like, we'll just keep pushing the same stuff and we make money. It's great. That's what they do. I'm the one going against the grain. Do you know what I mean? And I'm the one who kind of suffers for that. So yeah, we'll see how things go. But if I do stop, I've had a good run. I've really enjoyed it. I still consider this a huge success to me personally. But we'll see how things go. I've accepted that I'm not going to be a big channel. Like, I kind of accepted that a while back. But yeah, I don't know. I just sometimes think about this, and especially lately, with my channel getting suppressed for the second time, I just start to question things, But yeah, that's my story, just in case you was all wondering. I'll leave it here, but I will just say this, like, if I do stop, I probably will make a video just officially announcing it. But if I do, I just want to say thank you to anybody who has regularly watched me. I do really appreciate it, genuinely. And I know there's people who do watch your content and they don't always like drop a comment. I understand that completely, and that's fine. I don't expect you to have to drop a comment every single time. But, sometimes you don't realize people are watching you regularly until, a certain video comes out, or, they say something like, oh, I'm a regular viewer or something. You don't know because they don't always comment. So, to anybody who's like a regular viewer of me, I do genuinely appreciate you following me, and I hope I've helped, because that's always been my intention. My intention has always been to help people and just give them the knowledge that I have to the best of my ability, you know. Oh, and just before I finish, just some YouTubers, just so you can see that I'm not someone who's just always negative, that I do really respect. No BS Crypto, Moon Lambo, Crypto Jungle Inc. So there's a few YouTubers, influencers who I personally think are really good, honest content creators. I just wanted to say that because I don't want it to seem like, you know, I'm making out like I'm the only one who's doing the good, you know, fighting the good fight. There's other ones out there, there is, but there's just not many, you know, there's really not a lot. And so I was hoping to be, you know, one of those guys, one of the good ones who are doing honest content creation. So yeah, just to make it clear that it's not just like, you know, every content creator out there is bad and I'm the only one saying good, you know, the real stuff or whatever. No, there's others too. But anyway, I've waffled on long enough. But yeah, thank you for watching, guys, and we'll speak again soon when I'm on the next video. Take care.